All right, in lesson 7.4, we're going to discuss metric units, and we're going to look at units distance, we're going to look at volume and weight. And so this is just a different system. This is the metric system. This is used by most of the world. So we're going to take a look at these. In this lesson, we're just getting an idea of kind of approximate lengths for these things. So you'll see that in this first table here. So here we're talking about distance or lengths. And so let's go ahead and look right at the middle there. You see meter, and that's our base. That's our base unit there is the meter. And you see that that's the length of a baseball bat. And then all the other ones have the word meter in it, and we'll be talking about those more in the next lesson. We'll be learning about those and how to convert. But a decameter, well, let's actually start way up at the top then. Kilometer, you see the symbol there in the second column. It tells you a kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. But like our estimation here, 1 kilometer is about 5 city blocks. So if you've ever been in the city, you drive a few blocks, so 5 city blocks is about 1 kilometer. Below that is a hectometer. A hectometer, you see there's about 100 meters, and it says the length of half a city block. Another thing you might be familiar with, it would be about the length of a football field or a soccer field, the length of it. So that's a hectometer, which is 100 meters. A decameter, that's 10 meters. So it says, for an example, it's about the length of a fire engine. If you took 10 really big steps, that would be about 10 meters, which would be a decameter. And then we see meter there again, about the length of a baseball bat. You've seen a meter stick. A yardstick is close to the same length as a meter. Decimeter, so now we're getting to things that are smaller than a meter. So a decimeter is a tenth of a meter. You see that's the height of a soup can, about that size. A centimeter, that's 100th of a meter, and maybe centimeters we're fairly familiar with. It says that's about the width of a large paper clip. So take a large paper clip, the width of it, and then a millimeter. Millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. And that's just the thickness of a dime. And so those are some approximations for things so you can get an idea of what those lengths are. So that's the units. The meter is the main unit or the base unit for length in the metric system. So in this skill check here, it says choose kilometer, meter, centimeter, millimeter as the most likely unit of measurement. So the distance across Indiana. Well, we're going to want to measure that in kilometers. The length of a soccer field, well, we said the length of a soccer field earlier was about a hectometer, but that was measured as 100 meters. So the length of a soccer field would be measured in meters. The diameter of a penny, that would be probably in millimeters. So we could be accurate. You could try centimeters, but you wouldn't be real accurate with centimeters. And then the fourth one, width of a sheet of paper. We say 8.5 by 11 when we're talking about inches, but when we're talking about a metric system, we would use centimeters. We're actually going to go ahead and skip this part for now, and we're going to jump down to our next unit. Our type of measurement, and that is going to be volume, and the base unit for volume is a liter. So 1 liter. And we don't talk about a lot of different volumes here. We're talking about approximations again, so we get an idea of what this is like. A liter, it says a pitcher of milk that fills 4 drinking glasses. You guys are probably familiar with 2-liter bottles of soda. So if you take just half of that, that would be 1 liter. And then we'll go up to milliliter. That's a 1,000th of a liter. So that's just a few drops of water. If you ever take liquid medicine in one of those little measuring cups, you'll see milliliters on there oftentimes. So that's a small amount of fluid or liquid, small volume. And then a kiloliter is large. That's a lot. That's a hot tub measuring 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. So that would be a kiloliter. So that's quite a bit of water. So quite a bit of volume. So those are our volume ones that we're most familiar with. So you should be able to estimate things with those a little bit later. And then the last thing is mass, or we'll talk about weight. The main unit there is gram. That's the base unit. And you see gram is not very much in weight. It's about the weight of a paperclip. So that's very light. So a milligram is smaller than a gram. There's 1,000 milligrams. So if you just take a few grains of sand, that would be 1 milligram. So not very much weight at all. A kilogram, notice the estimation here is the weight of 2 textbooks. So maybe a few pounds or a pound or so would be a kilogram. And then a metric ton. So we see the word ton there, which we have in the system we use. That's 2,000 pounds is a ton, but a metric ton is 1,000 kilograms. And so a metric ton is the weight of a small car. So those are some estimations for weight. And so for your assignment, you're going to be working through many of these questions, which are just trying to figure out what you're going to use to measure the different things.